Do you have like a little mission statement inside you? Do you have a sense of why you write? Something that you pull out when you're having a bad day or when you don't want to do it?
I think I'm fortunate in that I don't think there was anything else I've ever wanted to do. It's hard to write from a place of fear. It's hard to write from a place of like, I'm not getting this, but I'm forcing it. And I think what I've always come back to is that I have to write from a place of joy, and if I can't, I have to like take a step back and go find that place of joy before I can go back to writing. Because I have spent years like trying to force it to happen. That feeling of like, you just have to work harder. You just have to push harder. You just stay up, just have another Red Bull, steal someone's Adderall, like, whatever was kind of getting you through that thing. But at the end of it, reading those pages, it's not like I would be awful to myself and push myself hard and then magic would show up. Like that never, ever happened.
I expected you to say something like, I have this hobby or this place I like to go. But what you're saying is so much more fundamental, which is just you have to give yourself time. You can't expect yourself to be in the right mindset if you don't break it up and give yourself a second to stare at the ceiling.
It really is that, like finding a way to get back to your happy place. And that really does take work. I can't remember, I was talking to another writer about this recently, but it's something I stumbled across like out of pure necessity, which is like also allowing your subconscious elves to do a lot of the heavy lifting. This is related to like the TV schedule we talk about, which is grueling, but sometimes you have to sleep and sometimes, you can't force it. Like you're staring at the page of just like, how do I break it? How do I break it? Why am I not seeing that? Sometimes it's better to like park that message in your brain of just like, okay, this is the thing I need to solve. I'm going to park that with my elves and then I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take a nap and sort of like trust that, the little elves will be tinkering away at it. And a lot of times like they come up with something without you.
I love that. I'm going to start calling it, I'm leaving it for the elves. Part of the reason we're putting this out there in the world for people to watch is that I really want that like teenage boy who's working so hard on his script alone and is judging himself for having the instinct that he should sleep on it so his brain can clear away some of the detritus and come back fresh. Like now he's going to be able to say, well, Adele calls it calling in the elves. And like, if she did it, it worked for her. Like, I'm not slacking. I'm giving the elves something to do and they need, they need work too.
That's right. It's like official writing technique now. So yeah, I would hate for a teenage boy at home to just be, who has that dream and has that yearning to feel like down on himself of like, I can't crack this. Why can't I crack this? If I was meant to be a writer, shouldn't this be easy? Like taking dictation from Jesus, like, it's not. It's hard.
I mean, but you'd be surprised. Like I'm imagining 16-year-old me or 22-year-old me hearing that the woman who wrote a movie that I really love still struggles with that and gets stuck or has to leave it for the elves.
And I think the other thing people don't really realize about professional writing, for TV, for film, is that how much rewriting and rewriting and rewriting that happens. And early on, you can take it as proof that you're not good enough. It's like, none of us are good enough. None of us are ever good enough. I literally don't know what it's like for something to just write itself. I've heard like some writers just have that thing where like, oh my God, I just felt this idea so strongly. I wrote my pilot in 2 weeks and there it was, fully formed, shoot it.
Right.
I've never had that experience in my entire life.
I find that so intensely comforting when you say that.